All right, good afternoon, Superkickin with Steven fans. Glad to have you on board. We got a few things to talk up this week. New champion emerging on AEW. We have the War of Words between John Cena and Roman Reigns. We had Sasha Banks get a little help last night. And yeah, so Raw happened. We might see the end of RK-Bro. NXT, we got a stipulation for a couple matches for TakeOver coming next Sunday. And we're ready for SummerSlam next Saturday, the 21st. I believe it is the first official event in Las Vegas's new stadium. So I was wondering if they might have a preseason game that Sunday. Maybe that's why they had to bump it up to Saturday. But WWE will be the first people to have something happen then. So we got here right to my side, Greg coming on as well. Rocking is that Suns jersey, or do I need to even ask?
This is a Wolfpack jersey. They represent the hometown team, NC State.
There we go.
Yes,
Too
sir.
Sweet. How's your weekend going, Greg?
It's been a good week, man. It's been a lot to unpack. So much wrestling, plus another new show now. Watched Rampage.
At least it's an hour.
Yeah, I was thinking that too. That it was a very brisk, moving hour. So I was thankful for that. The fights were hot last weekend, so we got NFL going on full-fledged now. So I'm a happy camper these days.
Yeah, I don't know if I could have done another 2-hour show on Friday night after 2 hours of SmackDown. That's a lot to take, or else I'd have to catch it this morning or something. But because I saw some people, I think they were thinking it was going to be 2 hours. I'm like, but I thought they said like an hour. So I was glad they went the 1 hour rate. And of course, we saw a big change last night. So, and next week is going to be I don't even know what to make of it. It's in the United Center. They said it's going to be one of their largest crowds. It's in Chicago. CM Punk has now said, Greg, he has a screening in Chicago that weekend. And Darby Allin again said the best in the world. So somebody's joked like, watch QT Marshall come out too. Cult of personality. You're going to hear the CM Punk chants all night. And if they don't deliver on him, I mean, I don't know. Like they're definitely, they've built them up. So it's built up a lot. So, and I know we shouldn't have built it up, but when you have Darby Allin saying it, when you have it in Chicago and you want it to be this big ass show, I mean, don't you almost have to deliver, don't you think?
Yeah, absolutely. They've, wanted to keep it on the low, but they want to get the eyeballs too, so you can't have both. So, drop your little hints, drop your little teasers.
There's nobody else.
It's got to be. Yeah, everything is set up. They put it in Chicago for a reason, and Bull Stadium for a reason. So,
I mean, you could wait it out because All Out, I think Rampage is there that Friday as well. But I feel like that'd be so close. So why wouldn't you just wait to All Out if you're going to do it that time? But like now, I feel like you almost got to do. I mean, I guess you could pull off Daniel Bryan as well because I mean he's probably one of the best in the world. But would people boo him? would they almost? It feels like anybody but Punk.
Yeah,
coming out it's going to be like the Rey Mysterio thing at the Royal Rumble. When everybody wanted Daniel Bryan in that 30 spot. So yeah, I don't know. Like we wanted them to deliver on the barbed wire death match, and they kind of didn't. So now it's like you got this chance. you got to make it or break it. So it's gonna be that Rampage episode is and like and you only got an hour.
It makes the most sense to do it now because if you wait till All Out, there's no chance of them having a match. So you break them out now, you get them in a program, and then when All Out happens, right? Why would he come back if he didn't want a match? So that
is true.
The perfect way to set it up. He's going to come back to wrestle, not to be a commentator. An hour,
and it's funny to think like he's going to get paid a lot of money just to show up, probably for like a 5-minute thing, if that, like, is it, because it's an hour. So you want to, and you haven't built up anything else yet. Like last night, they had all the 3 matches set up and we knew what was going on. So far, I don't think we have anything set up other than Darby Allin saying he'll be there. So it's like there's a lot of open-ended questions for that. But let's get started with our week. So we did start with Monday Night Raw. Randy Orton was back. We'll kind of book in the ends there because the beginning of the night and the end of the night ties in. So Orton said there's the end of RK-Bro, and Riddle's kind of dejected all throughout the night. Riddle comes out in the main event, which is AJ Styles and Randy Orton. Another good match. AJ Styles and Orton just work well together, and I feel like AJ works well with bigger guys mostly because he could sell for them and they sell for him. It's a good pairing. Yeah. And honestly, when you think about AJ, I know AJ Styles still has a career WWE, but like, there's not many bad matches he's had. Like, he's always been in a good spot. Like, I know we talk about guys getting misused, but whatever reason, they really believed in AJ because he's always had good programs and good, he's just worked well. But anyways, so Riddle comes out and kind of distracts, almost, and gets Orton to win. But we know that Randy Orton is a Viper. He works well out of himself. RKO out of nowhere, and then just takes care of Riddle. And so, Greg, where are we going now? Are they officially done? Does Riddle try to make it up? Maybe try to get them a match against AJ and Omos for the titles. Where are we going with this? Because we don't want a SummerSlam match yet. I feel like it'd be pushing. Like, you want to build this up if you're going to break them up for good.
I'm not convinced that it's over.
Yes.
It was kind of what I expected when Randy came back. He's not going to, thank Riddle for, carrying on in his absence. That's not Randy being Randy. Randy being Randy is what happened at the end of the show. I think all of us saw it coming a mile away. And, the only question is, he going to pull the trigger or not? He did. And that's totally what I expected. But the fact that AJ and Omos don't have a match for SummerSlam yet, and they're the champs, gives me question to doubt it. The fact that after he RKO's him, Riddle, that he just kind of kneels and pats him on the head, and is that a kiss off, or is that okay, we're officially back now, but you have to take this lick before I come back. Your idea works also, that he tries to get them a match for the championship at SummerSlam and sell it to Randy that way. Because as good as Riddle's been since Randy's been gone, carry on with the power of the Viper in his veins. He's still a little dense, so it's the fact that it's not sunk in completely yet, or he's trying to rebuild that bridge, makes sense. And I think that we end up seeing that match at SummerSlam with RK-Bro against AJ and Omos.
And I feel like you'll just pull the trigger on the title change just to kind of almost give it a smoke and mirror type thing. And even if RK-Bro lose it on that Monday, and then, then they officially break up, and then Extreme Rules is Orton and Riddle, I think that it almost feels like it needs to happen. Let's face it, is AJ and Omos really working? They're working as a tag team the best they can. But at this rate, the tag team division is what it is. You could give it to anybody at this rate, and it is, So do you think? Well, we'll worry about predictions later, but my idea is I think you got to pull the trigger on them getting the titles, even if it is for a day, just to kind of make it seem like. And then even if they lose it that Monday night, or whatever and then we're off to the races for Orton and Riddle at Extreme Rules, because that feels like where we're going. But Any thoughts, Greg? Not a prediction, but do you think they do need to pull the trigger on the title change for AJ and almost just to kind of make the storyline for Riddle and Orton keep moving along?
I do think they need to, but I can also see a scenario where they get the match and get the SummerSlam, lose, and they have such a hard fought battle that, Riddle has Randy's full respect, gives him a little shine at the end of the match while everybody's standing there cheering. And then Riddle hits Randy with an RKO. And there's your setup for their match at Extreme Rules.
Because, yeah, we have talked about before. I feel like Riddle needs to be the aggressive one in the feud, and ultimately get the best of it. I think that should happen. I think this, it's kind of like the Damian Priest. Like, Riddle needs something that is going to put him at that next level, whatever level that, we don't, not saying like main event level or, but that it sounds dumb to say top tier mid card because you're still mid card, but, like that next step in his, evolution. So some other stuff that happened. How about Baron Corbin, good old sad Baron Corbin, Greg, asking for not $1,000 like last night, a freaking $100,000 from Drew McIntyre, which I'm sure Drew has it, but whatever. Like, not just, he's swinging for the fences. So gets a match with Drew. Drew kills him anyway. So any thoughts on sad Baron Corbin? We'll talk about last night and what Corbin did, which is another step in his whatever he is. Ultimately, I feel like the ultimate end game for for Corbin is like back to NXT. Like, I don't know. Like, what is the end game? Do you have any idea what this end game is for Corbin?
I've been trying to figure that out too. I thought that with him doing the mercenary thing, that he could just charge up front and then try to go and carry out the task like he did with what I was sensing with Gender.
Yeah.
You call him in, you pay him to go and beat up their enemy, and that's how he gets back on his feet. He becomes the mercenary Baron Corbin or something like that. But it looks like that's not where it's going either, because apparently if you lose, you don't get paid. So,
well, could he be Regal's new enforcer?
That's a possibility.
I'm thinking out loud, but open. Like, yeah, because I don't know what else the end, like, he's willing to take any job, and it kind of gets him, it gets him back. He's probably better suited in NXT right now. They probably need some guys down there, and I don't think he's not doing anything on the main roster. So other than getting his ass kicked, which is fine, I guess, but but then again, Samoa Joe, like in his short time, like would we really take Corbin seriously as that Regal, employee? Maybe not. Yeah. Maybe he just has to do whatever Regal asks, just because then we can kind of still have fun with it, because it's probably hard to buy Baron Corbin as that Samoa Joe type, where because Joe just did it so well in the 2 times, 3 times, short time that he was, which we all knew was going to be a short time. But yeah. So, anyways, if you have any thoughts on, like I said, I feel like it are getting released. I hate going that route, but like you're writing them off. Like, what else?
Well, the only other thing I could think of is that when somebody files bankruptcy, Chapter 11 there, all their debts and bills get wiped off the slate, and you go back to zero. You're starting from the bottom, but now all your stuff isn't getting repossessed, so you're not losing everything. And so now he's free, and maybe his paychecks that he's getting for showing up on SmackDown, he gets to keep it. He gets to have some money now, and he comes back and dance for joy and gets his music or whatever. And I did catch the little 5 second of entrance music that he got before they realized, oh crap, he's broke.
Well, the best is
that
Michael
was kind of
Cole.
funny.
I just got news that Baron Corbin is on his mom's cell phone plan. And I'm like, what? Like,
Right.
we're really going to go that deep into this? Like, yeah, so. But anyways, good win for Drew. He will be, I believe it's official. I thought they said on Twitter that Drew and Jinder will go at it on SummerSlam. So far, no Punjabi prison, but it makes you wonder. We still got the go-home show. Not that I'm crossing my fingers, Greg, but you never know. It feels like they could pull out some stipulation there. So, Karrion Kross defeated Jeff Hardy. I don't know I still don't know what they're doing. Like, I guess they realize we just got to give Karrion Kross some wins. Ultimately, it's all about the takeover match next Sunday. Yeah. And it still sucks. We can't, it's like, we can't bring it up. It's like a hush topic on Raw, even though all the brands are connected, but, so and then he put the cross jacket again on Hardy. Any thoughts, on beating Jeff Hardy? Does Jeff Hardy come back and win, or should Karrion Kross just keep killing him?
Yeah, well, they've already screwed the pooch on this one, with him losing the first match. He just come in and either beat down a job squad for 4 or 5 weeks, or beat Jeff Hardy in the first one, and then Jeff's going, I need my rematch, and take a second go at him and still lose. It would be better for his NXT matchup plus his Raw appearance. And they've screwed it up so bad, and it looks like they're trying to make it up on the fly by having him get that win back. But he's the last guy you need the 50-50 book. If he's coming up as a monster heel, he needs to look like it. And I feel bad for Samoa Joe because it's definitely taking some shine off his match with Kross at TakeOver. And I feel bad for Kross because, he deserves better too. They're having a hard time getting viable acts for us to get behind to, either cheer or boo. And they're, missing the mark with
Kross. Been
Kross
pretty
right
quiet
now.
for him, out in the audience. I mean, it's going to take a lot. Like if they say they're going to put Scarlett with him, she's going to have to do a lot to rebuild him on the fly as well, like you said. So, and they probably need to put her right after that, and have her debut with him after that takeover match, almost like a reset. Whether however we do that, I don't know, but So, Alexa Bliss defeated Drew Drop. We had Lily play a part. She gave a little wink in the corner of the match to Doudrop, which caused a distraction. So I still think we'll probably get Carmella. Or sorry, I keep getting Carmella and Eva Marie. I'm doing it again this week, Greg.
You love some Carmella, don't you?
I guess. She is the most beautiful woman in WWE. Blah, blah, blah. Eva Marie and Alexa Bliss, I think, would be the plan for SummerSlam. But it feels kind of late in the game. So do you hold it off? Maybe do a rematch. Doudrop wins, but Eva Marie takes the credit. Which direction do you think we go for SummerSlam, or do they just hold it off, this Monday and next Monday, Greg? For the whole Eva Marie, Doudrop, Alexa Bliss stuff.
Yeah, I think it won't be a match. It'll be another promo segment, maybe a jump in the backstage, jump in her backstage. To set the stage for SummerSlam. So it'll be hands off on this one, but we'll get to the match and get it done with.
Who do you think gets the match? Is it Doudrop versus Alexa at SummerSlam, or Eva Marie versus Alexa at SummerSlam?
Good question. Just the fact that we haven't seen Eva Marie do anything herself kind of leads me to believe she's not going to do this either. Or maybe they
Because it's by
announce Eva
design.
Marie and then she subs in Dewdrop.
Dewdrop.
And this would be a good place for Dewdrop to turn.
Yeah. Yeah, especially if she loses. Because you could have Eva Marie try to blame her for the loss. But it really was Eva Marie's match. So, yeah. Yeah, that's fine.
She interferes and it goes wrong.
Yeah.
And
And like we said,
Dewdrop
I think a big moment at SummerSlam would be bigger than Raw. Even though they tend to hold off the turns at Raw. But, I mean, then again, we did see the Nikki Bella big old turn at SummerSlam. So, maybe we will get this. But Sheamus defeated Ricochet. Not much to talk about there because Damian Priest defeated John Morrison. We brought up before those two guys, Damian Priest, Sheamus. This is really going to be a good coming out party. I'm hoping for Damian Priest at SummerSlam to kind of, get a title, get a good match, and, finally move up the ladder. Greg, how about T-Bar taking out Ali? Even though Ali was presented with a brand new jacket from Mansoor, but we had T-Bar pick up the win. And then Mason T-Bar, we're going to do the high justice, but Mansoor fought them out. So does Ali kind of start turning towards Mansoor's side to kind of, turn the tide and realize that maybe Mansoor's right about things?
That's what it looks like. It's what it felt like watching it.
But it shouldn't go that way.
Yeah, that he's leading towards the good side for a minute. He has it's a glimpse into the other side, but is he going to go with it or believe my side's still better? So, he's the pendulum in this whole thing. So, but for this week, it felt like he was leaning towards the side of, being a face. So,
yeah,
this whole storyline's a little confusing.
Yeah, I mean, because I think that, like I said, I think they want to try to make Ali go back face. I mean, I know he can do it because he did on 205 Live. Him and Cedric had that really good feud where they were just, two rivals going at it. So, and like we said, we need tag teams. We need cohesive tag teams. So, I mean, it is what it is. I think this doesn't end up anything on SummerSlam. Maybe a kickoff match. They haven't really talked about kickoff matches for SummerSlam, but this could be something for that. Bobby Lashley, said Goldberg's all but done. He doesn't want Gage ringside. So my thinking is, Greg, if Gage is ringside for this match, Goldberg wins. If Gage isn't ringside, then Goldberg loses. Any thoughts on that end? Or what are you thinking about? Do you think Gage plays a part in this match for Goldberg and Lashley?
I don't. Usually the kids aren't involved for very long, especially when they're that young. Even the whole aspect with remember Braun Strowman and Nicholas. We only saw Nicholas in that one event when they won the championship.
Hey, Dominic played a big role in the custody battle for himself. Don't forget that, though.
True.
And then the CM Punk stuff with Aaliyah and Dominic with CM Punk was like saying happy birthday with the Mysterio family. That was pretty, yeah. So I'm curious because Gage is probably what do we think, 16 at most?
I think they say it was 15.
15, okay. I mean, he looks like he looks more built than me, though. Him and Goldberg must have been training together lately because he's definitely built. But yeah, it should be interesting to see if Gage is there ringside for the match. And if that does play, or like you brought up, maybe Big E cashes in because, well, now that we don't know, now that Big E's case is gone, we'll have to bring that up. So, and then of course, Nikki Ash and Rhea Ripley ended in no contest because Charlotte, had to get involved, and those three ladies. I'm just curious to see how the match will play out. I honestly don't know which direction it's going to go because. Do we just give up the title on Nikki Ash already? Do they, give it back to Rhea? Brittany's in the chat. There we go. Can't wait for Brittany to join us next week for the SummerSlam prediction. She's been researching very hard, I've heard. So glad to have you in the chat, Brittany. And definitely keep your comments coming. But Greg, what kind of do you think? I'm scared this is going to be like a hot mess. Because, the feud feels like a hot mess. Maybe the match will deliver. Maybe I'm just it's not, maybe I'm under appreciating it or giving it a lower expectation. What do you think about this match that's going to happen at SummerSlam?
Yeah, I don't, am not completely in the same boat as you are. I think the match will be a good match. They've just done a horrible job of promoting it, building it, making it something that we can buy into. The Nikki Ash story has been interesting. I've still been watching her matches closely than I normally would, just to see what type of reaction she's been getting from the crowd, and it seems, very, very positive. But is it because she is really bringing them together, or because we hate the Charlotte and Rhea dynamic so much at this point that anybody could be in there and we'd be rooting for them to win?
And what will Vegas, like the Vegas crowd, you wonder, like, will they try to be a mark crowd? Will they just try to, crap on her like a Chicago crowd type deal, or New York? Like, because, it's a gimmick that you have to, I think you have to love or hate. There's no in between with superheroes. People love superheroes or people don't. I mean, that, I watch superhero movies, but I don't, I'm not going to go out and get a Superman tattoo on my arm. It's not that diehard for me. So I'm interested to see, like you said, how the crowd reacts. Because we haven't had a show in Vegas in a while. And with it being, kind of the first show in this new stadium, it'll be kind of interesting what kind of crowd favors who. We almost feel like it'll just go back all between, some people start cheering for Charlotte, some go cheer for Rhea, some cheer for, Nikki. Like, it's going to be a split, a three-way, split between them, just depending on how the match goes. And if we even have any real feel for who is the favorite in this match, because right now I don't know. I need to see if the booking odds have, who's favored, because it feels like it could just be a push.
Yeah.
Because, any lady needs the title right now. Well, I guess not Charlotte, but Rhea probably needs a title and Nikki needs a title.
Yeah, the best story would be Nikki keeps it, because she found a way to do it. And if they're not going to punt on this superhero thing a month after she wins it, then she needs to keep it. Yeah.
And give some merch for it. Because, at this rate, I could see kids wanting to buy the mask or, a T-shirt with it. So I'll be curious to see. They do have a Lashley Goldberg, like the half face. Like, UFC sometimes does the half and half. So they got that rocket already for the merch, but I haven't seen any Nikki Ash merch yet, so we'll see. It did take the Dirty Dogs thousands of years to get their merch, so maybe Nikki should not be holding out any hope. So, so that was Raw, and we're just moving along to SummerSlam. We'll kind of see what the Go Home show does, and see where things go. NXT. Oh, let's do a quick break because I always got to remember to get these breaks in. And we'll do the first Elite Performance break and kind of give you some Elite Performance talk. And, get back to NXT that happened on Tuesday night. ready to go. We'll talk about NXT. We kicked off the night with Dakota Kai and Saray. And I think Saray is starting to kind of grow on me with her ring work. That kick to the bottom rope, I mean, that still looks – I mean, it wasn't as good as the Gigi one, but it still looks pretty good. So I'm glad they let her unleash that because it feels like a really, a strong move. We also had Raquel Gonzalez come out and, try to fight off Dakota Kai. It probably still feels funny to think that the smaller girl is the heel when you think about this, but it makes sense because Raquel is built up as a good girl, got a face in this feud. So you looking forward to the match, Greg? And do you think Dakota Kai pulls off the upset?
I am looking forward to it. It's unlike the Raw situation. It has been built up really, really well. It has been a candle with a very long wick, and it's been able to play out and get layers upon layers upon layers. And you've seen in those that package that Dakota ran, explaining why she did it, makes perfect sense. And that's what we want. We want some storytelling that we can follow. That's easy. It doesn't need to be, Sudoku. We don't need to be killing our brain that much to figure out why. It just needs to be basic and simple to follow, and that makes it interesting. And they've done that with these guys. It's shaped up to be a great match. It's given enough time for Raquel to emerge as a dominant female, a dominant champion, and it's just given Dakota more time to show her heel tendencies, her heel capability, and that she will do anything to get what she wants, and that makes everything perfect for this matchup, and the timing is right now. So I'm excited to see this match. I do believe that we're going to see a new champion.
That's where I'm like split. I don't know which, you feel like you go either direction. Because it still feels like Raquel just won it. It still feels kind of fresh, which is good, even though, it's been a little bit. So next up, and we kind of talked about this last week. So now we officially, LA Knight defeated Andre Chase. Not much there, but $1 Million Man showed up. So the stipulation now for the match between LA Knight and Cameron Grimes is the $1 million title will be won by Cameron Grimes if he wins. And did they say his freedom, or did they just say the title? Because I still keep forgetting if they said that.
Yeah, he gets his freedom naturally. Well, Cameron Grimes is pretty much off the hook because either way, he's going to be a free man.
But now they've added in $1 Million Man, which I brought up last week, saying maybe $1 Million Man could be manager. Now they're saying $1 Million Man will be the butler for LA Knight. And it makes you wonder if ultimately they want $1 Million Man with LA Knight, because $1 Million Man is a heel ultimately. But once again, I don't know which way to go, which is good. So, Greg, do we like this stipulation? Because I do, obviously, because I thought of it last week.
Well, I've been loving this whole program. You know that.
Yeah.
Yes. And so anytime these guys are on TV, I'm there for it. I'm not doing anything else. Don't talk to me. Don't call me. Don't do anything. I'm looking at it a little bit different, and this is me booking it and hoping that they are on the same wavelength as I am. Cameron Grimes, I expect to, get the championship and have $1 Million Man be his, new manager, which is going to set LA Knight up for the main roster. Because why have the man with the $1 million championship and the guy who bills himself as the $1 million megastar on the same show, button heads, and even if they're not in a direct program with each other, they're going to have separate segments during the show at some point. So who do you move LA Knight to? there's, do you throw him into the championship scene, which is already very crowded? Do you throw him into the North American scene, which is not as crowded but more confusing? Or do you
especially
do,
if that promo.
yeah, or do you do the better thing and move him up to the main roster, and he takes minutes straight off out of his time slot, and you know becomes the
The new talk
biggest
show.
mouthpiece on
Yeah.
SmackDown, which is what I want. And
On SmackDown or Raw?
it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
He,
Okay.
he needs
Just
he needs to be there. He needs to have his talk show. He needs the mic in his hand because he is
Yeah.
money when he has the mic in his hand.
Because you could do a talk show for him if you think you're not ready to put him with a feud yet. You could do a couple weeks, like maybe not Aleister Black type, where he's whoever knocks on my door, but like you could do, a couple segments and see where do you think things are fitting in for him. So, if they call him up, that's fine. I mean, it seems like he's ready. I think he's probably wants to be on the main roster because that's ultimately everybody's goals. So, yeah, and I'd be fine with that. Gigi Dolan picked up a win. She looked pretty darn good. But I, of course, want to talk about the Undisputed finale. So now it's going to get best out 2-3 fall. Two out of 3 falls. So I love it that Kyle O'Reilly's like, I'm going to think outside the box and make it a straight up match. And I'm like, and then we have Adam Cole say, no, I'm going to make a street fight. And then ultimately, you brought up Hell in a Cell. But, of course, they're going to go the old school steel cage if it goes to 3. Part of me doesn't want to go to 3 just because I get tired of the, 1-to-1. But let's face it, other than Kurt Angle and Brock Lesnar, I think wasn't that Brock dominated like 2-0 or something like that in an Iron Man. Like it usually goes out of 3 falls. So I would have liked to see a little more creativity with it. Like the street fight, I guess they'll be able to do something with. But we've already seen the unsanctioned match, which was a street fight. So what more can you do there? And then to make the first match a straight up wrestling match, which they already did at Great American Bash. So you've already seen the 2 matches that they just said. So ultimately, they just got to finish it in a steel cage because that's the only thing that really can make this different. But I guess you could have the different people win. I think, you have Adam Cole win the first fall, Kyle O'Reilly win the first fall, Adam Cole win the second fall, and then whichever direction you go, the last fall. So do you like the stipulations, Greg, or would you like to see a little more out of the box thinking?
I don't have a problem with it. I get the logic behind it because you can't do first fall, no DQ, second fall, falls count anywhere, third fall, it's all too much the same.
Yeah, don't do the no DQ versus a street fight, or no holds bar is that's just an oxymoron.
Yeah, you can't have all the matches be the same. So
yeah,
it's just a different name to it. So I get it, why they did it that way. And there's not much room to put separation between the different types of matches that you're going to get. So I get why they did it. I think the ball was dropped by Regal because that would have been a great time to introduce Hell in a Cell to NXT. We've seen it a million times on the main roster now, but we've never seen it in NXT. And so this would be the special type of match that would have deserved a Hell in a Cell. And,
unless they
on the
can't
same
fit
wavelength. That's true. But
maybe, I don't, But I get what you're saying. Or I thought War Games, but then the double cage, maybe they could bring that out. But
you can just build it inside the arena. I mean, but
yeah,
he's on that thought line with having it in a cage. We're just building a little bigger cage. So that's where I think the ball was dropped by Regal and not by, the sequence of matches.
And not a Kennel from Hell match with dog
Right?
food. So, Pepe. Real quick, I did what you mentioned it, the promo of Hit Row burning the lucha mask of Legado when we thought they were the faces in this whole feud. That doesn't seem like a face thing to me. I don't know. So what do you think about that promo?
I like the promo.
Okay.
It was a
They
little
love their
dark.
fire barrels because they did that with McAfee. I think they've done that with DIY. So they really love the fire in a barrel promo, but I just didn't get the logic behind it because if we're building up Hit Row as the good guys, I didn't think you want to trash their heritage that much.
Well, they're not the good guys, but they're the group that the fans are going to be on the side of.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It's not a real defined line, I guess. Yeah.
Right. And it was a great promo. I loved the promo. It was dark, it was gritty, and they wanted payback for Legado getting the best of them the week before. So
that's true.
If you have two rival gangs going at each other is what I expect to see, and that's what we're getting right now. So I'm loving it. It's different. It's different. It's different from what we've been seeing, and just having two dark sides go at each other every now and then is not a bad idea.
And I can't remember, did they announce anything for TakeOver for these two groups, or is it going to be played out over NXT TV? I can't remember which direction we're going.
Nothing's been announced yet.
Okay,
that I believe.
I guess so. I'm gonna assume probably on TV in the next few. I guess you could still do it next week and announce something. But Odyssey Jones,
TakeOver.
Yeah, like an all-out, whatever, all titles on the line and stuff like. So, Odyssey Jones defeated Trey Baxter. We kind of predicted Odyssey Jones would move on. Boa defeated Drake Maverick. I guess the big news there was Mei Ying played a big part in it, and we have not seen Xia Li on TV. Any thoughts there, Greg, about is Xia Li headed for the main roster? Because she wrestled a dark match there a couple weeks ago, and we haven't seen her on TV since. So do you think they're building her up for the main roster, and then Mei Ying is going to wrestle? Even though she looks like an old elderly woman, so I don't know what she'll do. But Boa defeats Drake Maverick. Poor Drake Maverick. You talk about Job Squad. That's what he's at. So have at it.
Yeah, it's a little convoluted. I thought the same thing when I was watching that match. It's like, okay, we haven't seen Xia Li since she lost her Raquel. And so now Boa's coming out by himself. They used to escort each other to the ring, so it smells like main roster. And so she's already doing dark matches. It would make sense. They need more people. Please give me somebody other than Charlotte and Rhea and Nikki. So it makes sense, add some flavor to the division.
Well, we're going to get Aaliyah. Don't worry, Greg. We're going to get Aaliyah to save the day.
Oh, we're safe. We're good then.
Yeah, Aaliyah. Probably about 6 years too late for her on the main roster.
Mei Ying, she reminds me of the Great Kabuki. So,
yes. Okay. That's good.
I'm wondering it's going to be something like that if she actually gets in the ring and decides to do something. She handled Mercedes Martinez pretty easily, so she's got that kind of otherworldly Mortal Kombat-ish vibe to her. So maybe that's the play.
That's a very good comparison to Mortal Kombat thing. But then you almost feel like they'll need somebody to fill in. Maybe they turn Saray. I mean, we think Saray needs something, so maybe they could kind of convince her to be a killer. It feels like every Asian wrestler they got becomes a killer. We haven't seen Io Shirai either. Well, and Zoe Stark, the women's tag team champions. So whatever that. Well, they did the dinner, and Zoe Stark did not like the food, but yeah. And then finally, we saw Pete Dunne defeat Ija, or I knew I was going to mess up his name, Dragunov. I knew I was going to mess up his name, which was kind of surprising. I thought they might have Dragunov pick up the win. Now, ultimately, he chases off Walter and then holds up the title, which is going to totally go against my prediction because that means Walter's probably going to kill him. But Dragunov, I did not think we'd ever see him on NXT TV before, TakeOver 36, but we saw him, gave a good promo with him and Pete Dunne. Good, strong physical match between the two. So I wonder if we're going to integrate NXT UK a little bit more, especially if maybe they're not going to run live or run NXT UK show, like a takeover show. This is a good way to get some of the talent on takeover, and kind of, mix the NXTs a little bit. So what do you think, Greg, about the main event and Dragunov on NXT TV?
I love it. Love Dragunov. I haven't seen much of him, but what I have seen has been awesome. He had a match with Cesaro before the pandemic happened, which was off the chain. And he topped that with an even better match against Finn Balor on a UK pay-per-view. And it was above 5 stars. It was an amazing match. They flashed back to his first match with Walter, which was another killer match. So this dude does nothing but have amazing matches. He's so much different from what we're used to seeing on WWE television. His intensity, the way he goes at it. Like I said, I haven't watched enough UK to figure if he's a heel or a face, but for the sake of this rivalry, he's the face. But he is a level of intensity and fire that you don't see in faces right now.
We need a lot more of that UK style, like you said.
Yeah.
On the main roster, especially. I mean, Drew brings it every time, but yeah, if you could bring like a Pete Dunne, tap, Shinsuke, if they can let him go back to his strong style type stuff, just let some hard hitting matches. I mean, we've seen Daniel Bryan get chopped to hell by Roderick Strong at that Royal Rumble. So yeah, just, Sheamus, obviously always hard hitting, but I like the crossover. I think it really can help both brands. Like I said, if we're not going to be able to do big shows in the UK for a little bit, you can get a match or two of UK. Maybe they have the women's UK title defended next month, or at the next takeover to kind of build that up. So so that was that was NXT. Now we're building into Wednesday. We'll just kind of move along. I don't want to tie Rampage and Dynamite too much in, but it almost feels like we should, just with the Kenny Omega stuff, but we'll kind of give each segment its own breadth. The first match of the night on Dynamite saw Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks go against Dante Martin and the Seidel brothers. This was all Dante Martin's coming out party. And it's so crazy to think he's not even 21. Like, he's doing stuff that, both of us probably only wish we could do. and, at our age.
No
but, this felt like it was all to build up him. Really strong match. Obviously the Young Bucks and Omega win. Then we have the Elite promo, but Christian Cage comes out there, Jurassic Express. And, we're just building up all the Rampage match. So what did you think about the first match of the night, Greg, for the Young Bucks, Omega versus Dante Martin, the Seidel brothers?
Yeah, was not excited about it when they announced it. But, that match got me. That was an amazing match. And Dante Martin, holy crap. I mean, we'd seen him in Top Flight with his brother, go against the Bucks, and that was a great match too.
Yes.
But that happened so long ago, we'd had time to forget about it. And aside from that, we've only seen him on Dark. Um, but this was definitely his showcase. He was the star of the show for the whole night, aside from maybe Britt Baker. But this guy, holy crap, he was doing some things, and it got me thinking towards the end of that match that he may sneak out a quick pinfall on Kenny.
That's what I was wondering.
The way he was getting out of those one-winged angels and the counters was so different that we haven't seen before. He did a move I've never seen it before where he's standing between Kenny and the ring rope. He puts his foot on the bottom rope and flips over Kenny's head and lands behind him.
Yeah.
That was a move I've never seen anybody do.
That just feels like backyard stuff that you just practice and hope you don't hurt, kill yourself. But then now you're able to do it in a ring.
Yeah, it was so amazing. That blew me right there. I was totally floored by this guy and how good he was. And I would love to see a one-on-one match with these two. Just think of all they'd be able to accomplish.
I was going to say,
down the road.
Yeah. I mean, it won't hurt him to lose because you just get a match with Kenny Omega. So, especially if you have a pissed off Kenny, like if he keeps losing all of his titles. So, I thought they might sneak off the win too. There's that real brief, like almost 3 count. I'm like, well, they're just going to pull the trigger on it because why not? I mean, you could throw it on a Rampage episode now that you have an extra hour. If you're only going to do 3 matches and maybe a promo or what, maybe 4 matches if you can keep them short or too long, in some promo time, like why not? So, Daniel Garcia got defeated by Darby Allin. The big story there is that we'll see Darby and Sting against 2.0, Matt and Jeff. Not the Hardys, but 2.0. So I guess, it'll be interesting to see Sting kind of first match, on TV, on TNT, in a tag team, even though I thought he was on. Didn't he already have a match on TNT that they already talked about? Or am I misremembering? Anyways, but it felt like they were building this up as the first time he's going to wrestle on TNT, but I could have sworn he did. But anyways, like did him in against Ethan Page and Scorpio?
Yeah, it may have been on a pay-per-view, though.
Maybe that was
my only thinking.
So we'll see. We'll see where this goes. I think it's going to be a fun, crash and party, just a real quick match. But we'll see how 2.0 really how they're fitting in on the roster now that they'll get an actual match.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see if they can actually wrestle because I'm still not.
We really haven't seen them.
10% sold on these guys, right? We've only seen them doing backstage segments.
Yeah,
and who knows? Maybe they can, convert us and have us to believe they can actually, do something in the ring. They've been together and a team for, over a decade or however long they have been. I'm not excited about it, but again, I wasn't excited about the first match, and look what happened. But going back to that for a second, where you mentioned the whole business with Christian and everything, I think I got the validation that I expected when they announced that Kenny was going to be defending against Christian, and the crowd booed. That nobody got time for that. So I thought that was really interesting, but we'll get more into that.
I wonder if last night will turn the tide.
Yeah,
because the crowd was all in, but we'll get into that. Because then again, it is a Chicago crowd though, and we never know with Chicago crowds, honestly. So you do wonder which direction they'll go, because the crowd was way into last night. But that's speaking of things I wasn't really into, Best Friends and Hardy Family Office, they fought. Hardy won, and not much. Then Nyla Rose got taken out by Chris Statlander in a very quick match. I mean, you almost had to not blink before that match was over. Because I do think we're building up Chris Statlander, especially after last night's shenanigans. Any thoughts? I kind of combine those two. So, Greg, you can talk about those two if you'd like.
No, I don't love the best friends. I'm in it for Orange Cassidy's ankle kicks of doom.
Yeah,
that's what I want to see when the best friends are out there, and didn't get it this time. But it is
takes
what it
the
is.
right team against them to seem to bring them out. Like the stuff with Proud and Powerful, that really brought out a different,
Yeah.
And the Hardy family off it. Like, I feel like Private Party is nothing now. Like, just think where they were at the start of, AEW and getting the win over the Bucks, and seemingly, do you think has the pairing with Jeff Hardy with Matt Hardy, has it kind of killed their momentum at all, or do you think it's their own? I know the pandemic kind of derailed their momentum, but what do we think about Private Party? What happened to them?
Yeah, turning him heel was a bad idea. They were getting over on their own, and we were liking the swagger. We were liking I forgot the name of the tall one, but doing his thing with the tails on, and they were getting over on their own merit. But once they turned heel and joined Hardy's, they've lost all their juice. Nobody is really buying now. I still like them for what they do. I love their moveset. The gin and juice, I think, is a great combo finisher. But it's fallen flat since they've joined the Hardys. And
because you just taken away their personalities.
Yeah.
I mean, it's all about Matt.
Shout out to Tony Schiavone. The best line of the night was when I think that was actually on Rampage, but the hand in the pockets.
Yes.
That was on Rampage, wasn't it?
No, that was because remember
that was that match.
Orange Cassidy put Matt Hardy's hands in his pockets.
Right, and Tony Schiavone was like, well, his hands been in other guys' pockets for a while now.
Yes.
I was like,
yep.
Okay, that was a great line. So that was the spot that got me right there. But
exactly.
Otherwise, they put on the whole match. No ankle kicks of doom. Shame on you, Orange Cassidy.
Yeah. And and that, I mean, like I said, with I like the best friends. I think but it just takes the right program for them to really show their best side, and I don't think this is doing it right now. Britt Baker always shows her best side though, and it's funny because she cut a fan-friendly promo, even though we saw last night. I wonder if they are going to go back and heal her up after the shenanigans of last night. So, I mean, if you want to talk about promo, I don't really have much thoughts. I thought it was a fine promo, and then Velvet out there, stirring it up. So then we saw the match last night, and we'll get into that later. But any thoughts on Britt Baker's promo there, Greg, on Wednesday night?
Oh man, goosebumps, man. That pop she got when she came out, it gave me goosebumps all over. As a performer myself, I know what it's like to walk out on stage in front of thousands of strangers, and get them on your side, and have them cheering and rooting for you. It's the biggest rush in the world, and with them being in Pittsburgh, and that's what they're waiting for all night, and even for a promo segment that place is going to go bananas, and they did. And as soon as she came out, that roar, coming through my soundbar, goosebumps all over. Loved it
with
so much.
With terrible towels.
Yeah, with the terrible towels. So great promo. I love that whole segment.
Dark Order takes another loss. They lose to the Good Brothers. but it does feel like we're splintering the Dark Order, and that's going to be telling. Like, what do we do with those guys? Because it feels like Grayson and Evil Uno, they're kind of starting to realize they need to be on their own. Maybe you have John Silver, Alex Reynolds on his own. I don't know what you do with 5 and 10, and then Anna J. We haven't seen Anna J back on TV yet. I believe she's healthy, so we'll see if she shows back up on TV. Maybe she's the glue that brings it all back together. Do you think she could be the, not necessarily leader, but she's the piece that's been missing from them?
No. Here's the thing. They do need to break up the Dark Order. Uno and Grayson need to do their own thing. Silver and Reynolds need to do their own thing. And then the other nameless, faceless guys can join when the new dark entity comes into AEW.
The House of Black?
Bray Wyatt.
Oh.
That's right. And
so Bray Wyatt is new. Okay.
Right. He comes in, rebuilds them in the proper image, of dark and evil, and no more smiley, happy goofiness going on. And then they can just kind of be clones, Ministry of Darkness kind of thing, and bring them back to what they wanted the Dark Order to be at the beginning. So that's kind of what I see happening with the splintering. It needs to splinter, it needs to break off and have their high-profile guys go their own way, and then the clones stay together and assimilate with Wyatt when he comes through.
And that's, I can get into that. Just as long as we don't do like Dark Order black and white, Dark Order purple and gray, and Dark Order, red and black. Like, I'm, like you said, I think just as long as they don't go back, like as long as Grayson and Uno don't go back to the whole that Minions thing that they had, and that was just dumb. Like that was. When Evil Uno would sit on, like, they'd form like a chair for him, and I'm like, okay, this is just too much. Like I don't get it, but it's it is what it is. All right, Greg.
I saw a post that said that was questioning if WWE had possession of the name the Wyatt family, in the sense that
I'm sure they do. I mean, if they got Bray Wyatt's name, I could just imagine. Yeah,
but the fact that they could put Bray and Rowan together, and it'd be the perfect passing of the torch from Brody, and kind of set things right. And Braun Strowman, have him being there too. So you have the 3-headed dragon, and then the clones from the rest of the broken Dark Order. And
I wonder if you could give some tribute to Luke Harp or like Brody Lee somehow, like with the name. Maybe that could be a whole, thing. I don't know what, but do we have to talk about Paul White?
No,
because he did save Tony Schiavone's son. At least he was not on last night's commentary, which doesn't make me scared that he's going to wrestle. And it looks like he's going to beat up on QT Marshall, Aaron Solo, and Nick Cormado. Whatever. Can we just skip over that part, Greg? Are you okay with that?
Absolutely.
I'm sure you're dying to talk about Paul White and, whatever.
Yeah. Unless Tony Schiavone's son is ready to wrestle, then pass.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm guessing it'll be Dustin Reynolds and probably Big Show or Paul White taking on, the Nightmare Factory now. Who knows where they're going with that? They don't know what they want to do with those guys. Like, this should have been dead in the water a long time ago. So, But the fourth labor of Jericho happened. He beat Wardlow. Now we get the fifth one, which I think some people thought we would get a fifth to lead to MJF, but I'm wondering if Jericho's schedule for touring is not like it's happening before All Out. And maybe that's why they're not doing it All Out. So we're going to get MJF and Jericho, but Jericho cannot use the Judas effect, cannot have Judas, which you think the crowd is going to sing it anyway. I hope that they do, just to kind of get him, Sammy Guevara tried to make a save. Jake Hager tried to make a save, but Pinnacle came out, and then you just got it to MJF and Jericho. So how are we on the final labor of Jericho? Are we into it, not into it? Where do we think, where we think it's going?
Well, we got what we want. We're getting our match. I'd expect that MJF would have that caveat in there, nothing Judas related in the match. We can't use Judas effect. You can't use Judas song, which is easy to, work around. Have Sammy Guevara and his cue cards come out with the lyrics. Everybody
what if
singing.
Sammy Guevara comes out singing it? Like,
true. There's nothing saying you can't do that.
Would be a good. He hasn't done the cue cards in a while, so maybe he should bring that back.
Right. So he just writes the lyrics in the cue cards, walks out. The whole crowd is singing by the time Jericho's walking out. So that's an easy fix right there. And he can't use the Judas effect, but he's still got the loss of Jericho. He's still got the code breaker. He's still got everything else at his arsenal. So,
but this probably writes off Jericho.
True. It's time to go on tour.
Picks up the win, and Jericho could get the win back, a full gear or something, whatever. Like if he wants the win back. I mean, I feel like you ultimately should, but it does feel like this will probably write off because I do think Fozzy will be here in September, the middle of September for a show. So maybe they're touring like the beginning of September. Maybe that's why, he probably wanted time to get things ready and whatnot. So,
right.
Do we think that there should have been a fifth labor? Or are you okay with this being the fifth labor? I know some people were like thinking we should have had a fifth but it makes sense this order because I think that would have just been overkill. Like saying, okay, you got to be this, and then you still got, well. Yeah,
the only reason it would have made sense to have a different fifth labor is if they were putting it on a pay-per-view. And like you said, with Jericho's touring schedule, it probably doesn't mesh. So I have no problem with seeing it, the main event of a Dynamite. And, give them enough time, give them a good half hour, have a banger of a match, and, everybody goes home happy.
I still wonder what was up with Jericho's elbow, too, because he must have had a legit injury because he was on that elbow cast forever, and I never really heard anything about what was that all about. So, anything else from Dynamite that did I miss that you wanted to catch up on? Because I hope I hit everything.
No, I think we got it.
All right. Let's do another little commercial break. Then we'll get into last night because SmackDown had some stuff. And, of course, Rampage had a big thing. So we'll finish up the night. And if they're building up Rampage very big, so you're going to have to figure out how you can keep that momentum going. But let's do a quick talk with Realty, some Rockstar Realty with Sean Nugent, and then we'll get into what happened last night.
What is up, everybody? It's your boy Dan over at BWSports1.com and Black and White Sports. And I'm wondering if you're ready to buy or sell that home, now's the time, and I got just the person for you. Mr. Sean Nugent, a.k.a. Rockstar Realtor himself. 317-503-8322. Put that home on the market. Get into your dream home with this man. Talk to Sean at Talk to Tucker today, 317-503-8322, and make sure you tell him the boys over at BWSports1.com sent you.
All right, so we are into Friday night. Like we said, now we got if we didn't have enough wrestling on during the week, Greg, now we have Friday Night SmackDown and an hour of Rampage to finish up our week. Thursday, if you really could catch NXT UK, you have literally, and Impact, you literally have wrestling on every night of the week, which is so funny to think, because even in our heyday, like the Attitude Era and the Monday Night Wars, I never would have thought there'd be wrestling on every night of the week. So, and it still doesn't feel like it's mainstream, but that's a whole nother conversation down the road. So, SmackDown, we had John Cena, we had Roman Reigns talk and talk and talk and talk and talk some more. Who do you think won the war of words? I will say real quick too, how about John Cena with the CM Punk references? I mean, if John Cena is so meta, like it's not even funny anymore. But he said maybe I'll take the title in the crowd, I'll blow a kiss, and I'll go off. And I'm like, why didn't he just say I might as well put it in the fridge? Whatever. But so who do you think, Greg, ultimately won the war of words? And then I'll give my own thoughts on who I thought won the war of words.
I'd have to give it to Cena. It looks like he got him. He got him by the slimmest of margins, because once Roman got into it, he got some in on John too. But I wasn't a big fan of this whole show because it felt like a go home show already.
Yes.
There was so much talking the whole show.
Yeah.
Promo after promo after promo, and not short promos, long promos.
Somebody literally said the promo last night was 26 minutes. Like that was literally the first half hour. We're back in the corporate day, the authority days when they would just talk and talk. But I agree. John Cena just killed. I think John Cena killed Roman. Like even the Nikki Bella line. I think the Nikki Bella line's too far gone. Like they both moved on. Like if you would have done this right there fresh, maybe even a year into it. Like this is, because Nikki Bella's with the new guy and has a new kid. And he's already turned a year. Like it's like they've already, I think that ship has already kind of sailed. But I thought Cena, like you said, it's weird because Roman seems pretty comfortable, but I didn't feel like Roman was as comfortable actually going against Cena. Like he already knew he was defeated in the War of Words, so he couldn't catch that fire.
But John got some good stuff in on him about breaking up the Shield and running Dean Ambrose out of the company, and he just kept hitting him. He's like a heavyweight prize fighter, just hit him with everything, and it was impressive to watch, and how protected he was, and all stuff that's completely true when you look at it. So I was a big fan of this segment. But,
and all the stuff that's been said to Cena, which is kind of funny. I think that's why Cena can give the fire, because it's he always brings it up. Guys say the same thing to him that he pretty much said to Roman. So, yeah. How about King Nakamura, our new and his second time Intercontinental Champion? I did not see that. I thought I saw it coming maybe down the road, or if anywhere, but I didn't see Apollo Crews losing. So what did you think about that outcome, Greg?
I like it. I didn't think it was going to happen either, but once they sent the seconds backstage, that changed my mind. Can he beat Nakamura heads up with no help? And we found out that the answer is no. I don't care how many times I see the Kinshasa, I always think it's going to come with the other leg. But
yes, you're right. Yeah,
it's so awkward looking, but it's still cool looking. So I liked it that they went in and did the title change, and Nakamura's got crazy momentum going on right now, and Apollo's we're kind of over it now.
Well, that's what I'm wondering. Where can Apollo go now? Do you think it's all derailed for? I guess we'll have to see how they play it out. But I do think the lack of title defenses has kind of hurt him. Like even if he defended on SmackDown a couple times, like it's hard to remember that he was champion, and it's only been since WrestleMania, which still feels fresh in our mind. That's what 4 months ago or 5 months ago now, but that's not a long. Like I guess we thought he wouldn't have a very long reign, but I did not foresee it kind of, and especially the second or the first match of the night, because we had that we had the war of words, as I said. So Montez Ford and Dawkins got a win over Otis and Gable. I totally think they should have flipped that. The Street Profits would have been over no matter what. Like I think they can take some losses here and there, and I wanted to see Otis and Gable pick up a win to kind of get themselves in the title picture. So what do you think about that outcome, Greg?
I feel the opposite. I'm a Street Profits guy, and they were, victims of the pandemic because they were super hot before everything happened. And now that, we got crowds back, we got a problem in the tag team division, that it makes sense to start building up the Street Profits again. Aside from the Mysterios, who else is going to challenge the Usos? And who else is going to be able to give them a great match? And I'd take the Mysterios out of the equation. I think the Street Profits are the only team that's going to give the Usos that match. Ziggler and Rude aren't going to do it. And I don't think Otis and Gable are going to do it. So to set the Usos and the Street Profits on a collision course is the right move. And the only way to do that is to get Street Profits wins, not 50-50 wins, but wins. Consecutive wins, a lot of consecutive wins. And then, you got your program right there. You got some smoking promos, you got some great ring work, and everybody wins.
And it could be like the New Day rivalry. It probably should do more for the Street Profits to kind of get them up, a level.
Right.
So I can see it, but like I said, I just like fresh tag teams like Otis and Gable. Like, what is the point of the Alpha Academy if you're never going to win anything? Like, even winning the 24/7 title that one time would have been something to prove, I guess until they do anything, like, what's the point? Because you just have Otis looking like a killer, but he's not doing, he's not winning anything. So, Seth Rollins gave a pretty good promo. No Edge. Not much we could, I think we're just look forward to the match. I want to see how that plays out. And, if we can involve Becky and Beth, I think that would be kind of fun down the road. But I do want to bring this up, Greg. So the Mysterios defeated Ziggler and Rude, but Dominique is totally turning on Ray sooner rather than later. I think with the like with Dominic saying, I got this, Dad, and all that. I think soon after SummerSlam, we're getting Ray, the father and son feud going, because I think we got to see what Dominic can do on his own. And, especially if we could, like you said before, if we could involve Legado and maybe have Escobar kind of take him in, like I think that would really do a lot. So do you foresee the turn happening sooner rather than later, Craig?
Yes. It's how it's looking to be. He's kind of having that look at Ray that I'm sure every teenager gives his parents.
Yes.
Rolling the eyes, like, okay. And, he's going along with it because this is that, and he has no choice really. And, is the perfect scenario to step out on his own, but, realize, I can't do it by myself yet. I need some backup. And, Legato's sitting there ready and waiting once their takeover match is over. So, unveil them on Raw afterward or SmackDown. I don't know which show you guys are on these days. On the SmackDown after SummerSlam, as the new faction, and they go to war, Ray. I think it would be amazing. and help elevate Dominic, help him look good, and set him on a great storyline. And we can really see if he can perform, if he's got it. And the fans are. We don't know how the fans are just because you stand next to Rey Mysterio, you're going to get cheered. But see if we buy what he's selling, in the ring without Rey. They're going to get that response. They're going to get, as a heel, is going to get that heel heat. So
it's still funny to think that this. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, I'm just saying I'm looking forward to seeing what would happen once he does break off from Rey and try to make a name for himself.
I was gonna say it feels like forever, but it's only been a year that Dominic has been on the because that was last year's SummerSlam, him and Seth. Like I was like, oh wait, that was only last year because that was the same weekend that Adam Cole got Pat McAfee. Like you talk about guys being in a debut match, like. What better guys to wrestle in, your debut match. So crazy to how time flies. All right, Kevin Owens, Baron Corbin. We had Baron Corbin out there with his mom's cell phone plan. He had a Square Visa card reader that he got from somewhere. They talked about that too. Now he's only asking for, he's only asking for 1,000. So at least he's just, he's got down. Owens kills him, defeats him, which he should have. And so, it just Corbin is Corbin. I just don't know where we're going with it.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense. But like I said, my thing with the once he's bankrupt, all his debts are gone, his bills are gone, and he gets to start fresh and reinvent as somebody else. And
maybe go off TV for a little bit and repackage himself.
Yeah. So, but I can totally see a promo where he comes out and celebrates being debt free, and it leads to something right there. So,
like if Owens stuns him and he writes him off for some time, so they can figure out what they want to do as the next. Like you said, clean him up. Give him a new white shirt. Just don't go back to the waiter outfit, the vest, the button-up vest, and the short, the sleeve shirt. So, and then how about speaking of talking segments, Greg, that's how we finished tonight. We had a little action. We did have Sasha Banks come out there. First we had Bianca Belair come out there. Oh wait, we did forget to say. Baron Corbin took off with the Money in the Bank. So what happens with that?
There you go. Let's say it's Big E's going to want his payback. I don't think they're going to have a match for the briefcase because if that's all it takes to get a match, right? He's just going to get it back, but he's going to be so pissed off he's going to want to get it back or pay him back in the ring. And at SummerSlam, so it feels like a kickoff show kind of match, which isn't fair for Big E, but it may be the best they can do right now with not being involved in any type of program. So it could be the first match of the night or a kickoff show headliner. But it seems like that's what they were setting up there.
What if Corbin tries to cash in? Big E grabs and Big E just takes him out, and Big E does the cash in on Goldberg, and then Corbin just is off in whatever he's going to do. But it kind of builds into the Finn Balor, or if Finn Balor breaks, does something to him. Like you feel like there's not going to be a match, but somehow maybe Owen stuns him, maybe Big E sneaks in and gets his case back. Like there's going to be some moment that Big E is going to get the case back. I think they'll play it off for at least the next week, and then Big E gets the case back. Like I don't feel like they're going to do a match for it, or maybe he wants 1,000, maybe he wants $100,000 for it or something.
He holds it for ransom. That's great.
Sign a check or whatever. He'll put on eBay or something. So, have a mysterious bidder, and then it's just Big E is the bidder or something weird like that. So, but we had the war of words between Sasha and Bianca. I was wondering who Sasha would come out with, like, because she's like, oh, I got a plan, and it's just Zelina and Carmella. They tried to take out Bianca. It was ultimately Sasha just getting the best of her because Sasha's going to lose. I mean, we might as well face it. Bianca's going to win on Saturday. I keep wanting to say Sunday, but next Saturday. And yeah, I mean, a good promo back and forth. They pulled out the girl a lot, and bye bitch and all that, but not as strong as the beginning promo. But at least this was short and kind of sweet. I get the idea of Zelina and Sasha, or Zelina and Carmella coming out, but at the same time, Sasha should be able to take care of Bianca on her own, right?
She should be able to, yeah. I'm not as convinced as you are as that she's going to lose the match, though.
Oh.
And usually in the lead up to these things, whoever has the upper hand, into the pay-per-view is going to be the one who takes the L. But I'm sensing heel Sasha in this one, and not that people are off the Bianca train. People still seem to be with it, and they're super into this program. But I don't know, something speaking to me about heel Sasha, and I'm not the biggest Sasha Banks fan, but I'm liking what she's doing. She's come back. She is probably a bigger heel now than when she was rolling with Bayley, and so
I can say that.
she seems a little more vicious, a little more savage on the microphone, and she's carrying herself, a little bit differently. Maybe taking her heel persona more seriously than when she was running with Bayley and they were kind of doing the clowny
just
kind of stuff.
Having fun with it. I mean, that's the thing. Like, you got to think they were probably just they're probably almost trying to break each other up. Like, like with New Day, I feel like New Day sometimes wants to just crack each other up. And I think Bayley and Sasha just were something they wanted to do, and they ran with it. And like you said, I do see the different side of Sasha, kind of like a refresh side. It sucks that all men and women can't get a few months off because, just think how recharged people would be. So, well, that was SmackDown. Anything, I think we hit up everything on SmackDown.
There was something unrelated that I thought of.
Okay, no, you're good.
Well, just a couple things that have popped to mind. Your thoughts on the Index skits?
Oh yeah, we did have the Johnny Gargano. I did forget about that. Sorry, I do. I'm bad because I just follow the results, so I forget that. I mean, I love that the you knew they were going to follow them, to the restaurant, and then we of course have the the kiss that we don't get to see. So I loved it. It was real cheesy. Gargano with the whatever that wig was, like, and the
right.
weird accent he had. So yeah, I loved all that, and we'll see where that goes. Like we said, I think ultimately there'll be some way that they turn onto the side of Index. They'll turn, I think it's gonna be Candace last, but I think it's gonna be Johnny first, maybe, and then it'll be Candace. Like, okay. There going to be something to kind of do that. So, yeah, I'm fine with what did you like? I'm guessing you liked it too.
Yeah, I thought the skits were great. And from what I've heard this week, that congratulations are in order for Johnny and Candace. Because
so Candace can't be wrestling anymore. She
right
having a baby.
So this could signal the shift somehow too. But like we said last week, this opens the door for so much stuff that they can do on that comic angle with Loomis in there instead of Austin Theory. And this is just a little taste of what we're about to get. So
do we need to bring him back in too? Like, are we going to get the resolution to him being gone, or does he just show
I
up
think
on
he's going to.
SmackDown one night?
Yeah, I think that's pretty much it. He's going to end up showing up on the main roster the night after SummerSlam or 4 nights after SummerSlam. So that was one thing. The other thing, which I was going to ask you about last week
Yes.
that I forgot about, was the fact that alluding to the Cole and O'Reilly match, that apparently Adam Cole's contract is up at the end of this month. And
It's going to be
so,
telling to see which way that goes.
right. And is he going to stay NXT, or all the smart marks are saying that he's going to jump ship and go over and live in Britsburg on the AEW. So,
and then there's talk that he got offered like $1 million. Like, I mean, that's hard to turn down, isn't it? $1 million. Like,
absolutely.
I mean, is AEW good? Now the only thing with AEW, no matter the money, he'd be with his, girlfriend. I don't think they're married yet, so it makes sense, especially if you're touring. I want to see him get a main roster run, honestly. Even if it's a short run, and then you make the jump. But I don't like right now. I think we got to see too. Is the Daniel Bryan stuff real? Is the CM Punk stuff real? Is Bray Wyatt, like, would he kind of get lost in all those, shuffling? Like, I mean, you'd have to have a really good spot for him, because Malachi Black is there. Like, the Malachi Black stuff is still big. So I think he ends up staying. I think he's built, and like, I know it's outside the ring, but the relationship he has with Xavier Woods and Cesaro through up, down, down, like they do something every Wednesday. Now they've written off Tyler Breeze, but he kept their title that he has. So I don't know, like, that's kind of tough to, that's something to think about as well. Like, I know it's like almost picking your girl. It's almost picking your friends over your girlfriend, but you think maybe they both have a house in Tampa that they live together, or maybe they have like set them in the middle. So I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense that it makes sense that is a definite possibility. I don't think it's any coincidence that the NXT headquarters are in Florida, and Jacksonville isn't that far from there as well. So I'm sure they meet in the middle quite a lot. But at the same time, I want Cole to leave for the reason that, number one, he's been the face of NXT for 4 years. He's been the best thing in NXT for 4 years. And in 4 years, they have decided to bring him up to the main roster and see what he can do. The guy is money. Anything he does, his ring work is above pretty much anybody, probably on any other brands. And it goes back to Vince McMahon and his old ways of thinking. If you're not 6'5", 260, 70, 80, and chiseled out of granite, that you're not destined for big things. And Cole is light. He is maybe 200 pounds soaking wet, but the guy is one of the best performers across all their platforms. And the fact that he has not had a run or 2 runs as world champion on the main roster is a shame. So I think it just speaks to, they saw the old ways of thinking back there, that they're not taking the NXT talent as seriously as the main roster talent, and recognizing what a difference maker he could have been already, and having him jump over to AEW, where he gets that creative control, where he gets to have these fantastic potential matchups with the roster there now, who are more his size. It's not the land of the giants like WWE is.
Yeah.
Imagine him in there with Darby Allin. Imagine him in there with CM Punk. Imagine him in there with Daniel Bryan. All the guys who are his size. And you got a world of opportunity for him. And I don't think he had a problem fitting in because everybody knows who Adam Cole is. You know, the AEW is built off of indie wrestling talent. And he's one of the kings of indie wrestling.
And the Bullet Club.
Right.
Which he was a member of, the leader of. So
absolutely. And
that's why the Bronson Reed thing is so interesting, because if they're going away from the smaller guys, why did you cut Bronson Reed? Like, you know, because that's the rumblings too. I don't know if you've seen that. Like, apparently, you know, they want to go back to 6'8", 275 guys. Like, you know, unless there's, you know, like you said, an Adam Cole or, you know, Daniel Bryan type that's out there, you know, they'll give them a look or what. But now I'm hearing that NXT wants to maybe go back to bigger guys and whatnot. So, you know, I could see him leaving, honestly, but at the same time, it's like, I at least want him to try, you know, see what he could do on the main roster. Because just to do, you know, if they want him, that's the thing.
Not sure he's wanted to also, but
yeah,
you know, it's not him that makes the decision to go up.
Yeah,
and that's the problem. As long as the power structure is what it is, he's not going to get a fair shake.
Mm-hmm. All right, so let's get into last night. Rampage. We kicked off the night with Kenny Omega defending the Impact Wrestling Championship, both titles, because he has the TNA title and he has the Impact title because of Moose, who brought in the TNA title, and then they already had the Impact, whatever. You know, it's weird how they're still doing that. Against Christian, the crowd was into it. The steel chair got involved. That's when I'm like, oh, you know, the Young Bucks are going to help Omega win. And then once Omega bit the chair, I'm like, holy crap, they're going to pull the trigger on Christian winning the title. Now, to me, what does that say to Impact wrestlers? Like, none of them could pull the title off of Kenny Omega. It took an AEW wrestler who can go to Impact Wrestling and defend it, which he will. He's already going to defend it, by the way, Greg, at TNA or Impact Wrestling's Emergence, which is happening against Brian Myers, formerly Kurt Hawkins. We can debate that down the road, but yeah. Anyways, but what does that say? You know, if I'm a TNA, or sorry, if I'm an Impact wrestler, I'm probably thinking none of us could have beat Omega for the title, so you're going to have an AEW wrestler beat him for the title. Like, that just seems, I don't know. Like, and like you said, what is Chicago? How are they going to, you know, because like we heard the boos, like we wanted Hangman Page in that spot. Like, the story was right there. Now, if Hangman, you know, if he's going to be, you know, his wife maybe is induced labor, then okay, you know, but it's just, you put in Christian, and I don't know if that Chicago crowd is going to be as receptive as the Pittsburgh crowd last night, because the crowd was into it, and it was a good match. You know, there's so many pinfalls, near falls, V triggers kicked out of. You know, the Young Bucks get involved, but now, you know, it just, I don't know. It feels like if I was an Impact wrestler, I'd be like, this is kind of weird, you know. And who knows if they know the workings of the relationship, because we still haven't seen any crossover other than the Good Brothers. Like, you know, you might as well have the Good Brothers on AEW now, because it feels like that's all they are. You know, I think they've shown up on Impact as well, but, you know, you've done nothing with the knockouts. No other wrestlers have been, well, I guess New Japan guys have been able to, but no Impact wrestlers have been able to show up on AEW. So what is the whole point of the relationship if it's so one-sided? So, I mean, good for Christian. He got to win a title. I mean, you know, but for me, I'm like, I mean, I'm not an Impact Wrestling guy, but I still got to think one of those guys should have beat Kenny Omega for the title. What do you think about how it all unfolded last night?
I thought the match was decent until the end, when they really picked it up. Um, that last, 5, 6 minutes
Yes.
of the match. Otherwise, it kind of dragged on for me a little bit. Um, and I know you want to build up to that crescendo at the end, but it was a very long build up, and I'm not a fan of Christian's matches anyway. But the ending was worth sitting through. It's like a movie that kind of drones on until you get to
You're just waiting for
the
the
big
end.
segment at the end, and you get your payoff, and you're like, okay, now I feel good about sitting there for 2.5 hours. So it was kind of had that feeling of it for me. Um, I like it because I'm hoping that this pushes Christian over to Impact, and we don't see him anymore. Or if we
That's
do
what
see
somebody
him,
tweeted out too.
or if
I
we
was
do
like,
see him more, it's very little.
yeah.
Um, and I was hoping that with him winning the Impact title, that it would leave a vacancy for All Out, but he's still going to challenge Kenny at All Out too. So, yeah, if I was an Impact wrestler, I'd be offended that I didn't get a shot, and now that you have a new champion, I still don't get a shot at him because he's going to try to get another belt. Um, so possibly with this upcoming week being the go home week before um, All Out, right? This is the go home week.
No, that's September 5th. We're
Okay, so
still
we
a
still got
couple
2 weeks.
weeks.
It's
I
still
wanted to bring
possible
up
that
the Orange Cassidy in the background though. We really didn't talk about that. I mean, is he going to go for the Impact Wrestling title and really screw up things?
that I don't want to happen. I did notice him standing back there.
And he was
But
ringside.
yep, and
So
he's probably thinking I can beat Christian. Um, but I don't want Orange Cassidy on Impact. So
yes.
it's I see what you're doing right there, and I like it to an extent. But A, I don't want Orange on Impact, and B, I don't want Christian to beat Orange. So
Yeah.
it's it's curious to see what he's doing there. Um,
Or could he take out, I guess this is way out of the box thinking, take out Christian before the match at All Out, and then he wants to slide into the match against Omega.
that would be great.
And
I'd be
then
down with that for sure.
could we get freaking Orange Cassidy beating Omega for the title? Because that would be really interesting to me. But that means it's not going to happen because it's way too interesting to me.
Hey, you want a bigger pop than CM Punk? Give Orange the title win over Omega, and yeah, the
and just like put
building
his
will be
hands in the
razed to the
pockets and
ground.
like best friends have to put the title around him so he can't even like put so maybe that's the direction because there has to be some reason why they had Orange Cassidy ringside for the match and they had him in that background lurking, so that has to play something. I think maybe they're realizing that Christian and Kenny Omega at All Out, if you've already done it, what's the
Right,
point of doing it again?
right. I mean,
So
Christian is going to be the belt collector now. No, no. And what's more confusing is why there's a TNA Impact title and a TNA title. I don't get that
because
either. But
Moose was the holder of the TNA title, is what I gather from like Twitter stuff. And when he showed back up in Impact some like a year ago, he brought the TNA title with him. But they had Rich Swann, I think, was the Impact Wrestling champion. So now they have both titles. That's how I kind of I think
Alrighty.
Moose ultimately belongs in WWE because he's friends with Apollo Crews. He's friends with Tozawa. I think he's friends with like half the roster. So I think he'd be better suited in WWE, but that's a whole nother talk as well. So, how about this though, Greg? Fuego del Sol loses the TNT title match, so he loses the contract, right? Nope. This is to me, this is a WWE thing. Like,
Yeah.
we've seen it happen. Like I always brought up the Cruiserweight Classic. Cedric Alexander lost. Triple H comes out and shakes his hand. Like, we knew, oh, okay. And I'm like, I don't know. I don't really care for Fuego del Sol. I get everybody in AEW loves him because everybody was like, the tweets were flying from wrestlers of AEW. So he must be doing something right, backstage or something. But it seems kind of dumb to lose a match that said you were going to lose or you weren't going to get a contract, and then we're going to give you a contract anyway, which obviously was going to happen because he's been on TV so much. But any thoughts on that aspect?
Yeah, it is very WWE. And we saw the same thing just happen with Drake Maverick. So
yes,
there's your example right there. And even during the match, I think it was Jericho that says he's like 2-50, but everybody loves him. So it's I think everybody knew it was coming because that guy's not going to beat Miro, and he loved the match. It started with those tornado DDTs, and they sold it. The announcers sold it like it was the greatest thing ever, and they gave him 5 minutes of hope before Miro crushed him. And it was predictable, but feel good ending. So, it is what it is. But that they took the page out of the WWE playbook on that one.
And even if you would have had Miro lose like by DQ, so Fuego doesn't win the title, but wins his contract. And I think they played that up a couple times. Maybe you have the next person who's going to feud with Miro. So when do we think Lana shows up with him after her 90 days is up?
Absolutely. He shouts her out every promo, and
he does. Yeah. She's probably in jail. She probably thinks she's in jail and she's marking down the days on the calendar.
Right.
Like it's going to be like their wedding date again. So it'd be awesome if they came out in a tank too, just to make that everything full circle about that. So maybe they could get the Shotzi and Tegan tank and just have Miro driving that thing. So, and then finally we saw Red Velvet lose, of course, to Britt Baker. Chris Statler came at the end of the match. And then I believe her name is Jamie Hayter. She was on TV a long time ago, they say. And then she comes out to defend Britt Baker and help her out. So that's what I was saying. I think they realize Britt is so much better served as a heel. I mean, if you don't have Rebel available, this gives another kind of hench woman for Britt to use and gives this Jamie woman like a step up already. So I do think we're going to get Chris Statlander and Britt Baker at All Out. And I still don't know. I guess it's probably Jade who's going to ultimately probably come up against Britt and take her out because it feels like they want to build Jade up Cargill. So what do you think about the ending stuff there? And I mean, the match was okay. It didn't really do much for me. And Velvet was getting booed, but I think ultimately Red Velvet's going to be the hero out of all this. And, well, Chris Statlander will be. Red Velvet, I think, will go back to Dark and Elevation and just pick up some wins there. But Statlander is going to get her real first feud now, as a singles wrestler. So,
it was a good match. It lasted a lot longer than 3 minutes. And I like the work from both of them. In Pittsburgh, Britt's going to be the hero, whether she's a heel or face, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Again, goosebumps at the pop she got when she came out, because the whole building, I'm sure, was rocking when she walks out. And
it's like a Steelers game.
Of course, the black and gold everywhere. She's wearing the black and gold. And I like the ending because it showed that, this is my city and I'm, the favorite. I'm the, loved hero here, but I'm still the heel. And I'm going to get this work and put down this baby face and, be savage about it and just underline I'm still the heel or still the heel
There you go.
here. And she did that. And then she also did it that by, beating up Statlander and showing, these are two distinct sides, even though it's in Pittsburgh and they're booing Statlander, everywhere else they go in the country, it's going to be the other way around. So,
Well, I was curious if
did
Chicago will be finicky, and do you think they'll cheer on Britt?
Probably. Chicago's famous for being contrarian and rooting for the anti-heroes and
Especially if she
the
comes
bad
out
guys.
in like the Bulls gear that she's had before. Like
Yeah.
they might need to give her like some well, I was gonna say the Pacers used to be the Bulls, maybe some Knicks gear. Maybe they could have like orange and blue gear made for her to kind of look, like the rival of the Chicago Bulls and kind of play that up. But because I want Statlander to get a nice ovation in Chicago at All Out, because now that she's come back from injury, and like I said, she's almost like kind of snuck in the back door, like just picked up these wins, picked up momentum. The crowd loves her, even though we don't know what the hell she is. Like, it's just like you talk about a gimmick, like, and she plays it up. So I thought a good debut show. And like we said, next Friday night, it's gonna I don't know what, like, I think he's coming, but then that part of me is like, well, he's not gonna come. Like it's and if he doesn't come, the internet's gonna explode. So it's like,
Yeah.
or if he does come, like either way, like it's gonna be, what is your official prediction, Greg? Do you think CM Punk shows up next Friday night?
Yes, I think he does. It has to be the way they've been putting over. We're coming to the United Center. We're coming to the United Center.
Yes.
Chicago,
At the
Chicago,
end of the
Chicago.
night, and it's going to be
All
at the
the
end of the night,
references.
right? It almost has to be towards the end.
Yeah. If you're gonna bring out your mega star attraction,
gun.
you make them wait till the end, and then you give them what they want, and then you send them home wanting more.
And hopefully, it can come out to cult of personality, like that.
Yeah.
That's what we know him for.
Yep. And that's what everybody, is not owned by WWE. And I remember Hunter in one of those promos with Punk saying, we paid them a whole lot of money to be able to get that song. So it's only fitting. I think it's going to happen, and it's going to happen on this next show, because you can't give it all these clues and sell it so hard.
Yes.
And because that might turn them off or anything else.
Yeah.
You've made all these clues that we're going to get it, and then you don't give it to us. So,
and you feel like that would hijack the All Out show almost in a
absolutely.
way. If you don't do it this, I mean, and I feel like it'd be almost not too late, but that Friday before All Out, like you said, we can't give them, I guess you could throw a match together on All Out, but this gives it some time to breathe. Because unfortunately, TNA or sometimes AEW, as we know on their shows, don't let things breathe. And hopefully they'll learn that you got to debut him. Just let it all, hit the GTS on Darby, or not. Don't even hit the GTS on Darby. Maybe just do a stare down, and let the people want that.
Let him come out, let him cut a promo, and then maybe Darby interrupts, but you get the moment going on right there. And,
or just shows up on the front of the stage, does the sit down. Like it doesn't even say anything. The old, we're going to wait. You're going to have to tune in next week. So, or wait till they might even make it, they might make him wait till that weekend of All Out. Because that will be the 5th. So we're still 1, 2, 3, 2 weeks, 2 weekends away. So,
so that gives it time. Yeah, that gives it time to, introduce it, give the people what they want, and then instead of having him debut it all out and just do a promo, you can
Yes.
have him in a real match, and the place is going to go even crazier, getting him for 20 minutes than a quick 5 minute spot at the end of the show.
Yeah. And I mean, I'm sure he's always. I was going to say I don't remember how long it's been since WWE's been in the United Center, so that'd be kind of cool. Like you would think he's like, other than Wrigley Field, I'm sure that's the second place he'd like to debut. Like he does love his Cubs, so I'm sure if he could have, maybe they could have done a show at Wrigley Field. Maybe they'll do that next year. All out
Right.
at Wrigley Field. So, yeah, next Friday is I'm getting goosebumps just trying to think about it because it feels like it's all the momentum's there. And who would have thought we'd see him back but I always thought it would take the right company, the right moment, the right, everything had to fall in line. It wasn't just going to happen. Like it really took some time. So, and I just want to see if he still got it. I mean, that's you think about the end of his run in WWE. I'm sure he wants to rewrite that. Getting out the Royal Rumble like 12th or whatever it was, like he was towards the beginning, and then we never, he was gone. Like it's like a cowboy riding off in the sun. He didn't even get to ride off. So, do a year, do 6 months, and go to Double or Nothing, and then finish off the right way. So, that's always why I wanted him back in WWE, because I felt like he knows he has the unfinished business there. Now, maybe he's not that type of person, but not many people aren't that type. Like they know, what they want to do, or that how they want to finish things. So,
we don't have good images of him right now with him walking away, and then he walked away to go to mixed martial arts, and he lost both his fights, and some of his street cred was lost. So the last images we have of him are him losing, or just walking away and say, I'm done with this. So he's quitting. So this would be a good time for him to come back and start winning and start speaking for himself, instead of us having to listen to obscure radio clips, and reclaim his name and his moniker, best in the world, and show he still got it. So
and maybe this lets the fire back up to get him re-energized, and like we said, and like I said, just finish the right way, because you got to, like I said, you got to think a little bit in his mind. He's got to think, I didn't do this, like I did this what was right at the time for me, but so many years have passed, you wonder if you have to think about that. So, all right, well, we'll see next Saturday what we're talking about. It's going to be interesting to see if what things unfold. And we got predictions, so we might have to talk. I was going to think we were just going to do a prediction show, Greg. We might have to talk up Rampage next week and and kind of see things. But we will for sure do SummerSlam NXT. I think Brittany will join us for the SummerSlam. I didn't know if I was going to force her to try to do NXT. She can always stay on and shoot the breeze with us if she wants. But I thought giving her SummerSlam would be enough work for the week. So, we'll have Brittany on. I've messaged my friend Jay. We'll see if he responds back to that. And we'll have a good old time and celebrate the year anniversary of Superkickin with Steven, because last year's SummerSlam was my first show. So
nice.
it's all come full circle. So thanks for watching. Any last parting shots you'd like, Greg, to throw out there?
Great time as usual. And I expect to have a whole lot to talk about next week after we see this next Rampage. I figure it's going to take over half the show. But I'm excited for it. And, we're finally almost at SummerSlam, and very excited, very excited.
And then into All Out, and it's just, things are moving. It's, now football-wise, you root for the Panthers being a Carolina guy, or do you root for somebody else?
Oh, I'm a Chargers fan through and through. So.
Oh, that's right, Chargers. Sorry. Okay. Well, the Panthers
Yep.
and the Colts had a practice yesterday, and apparently ended in a pile-up. So I was curious about if you heard about that. But yeah, I know these summer practices always end up in some sort of like did the Giants had a big brouhaha? I guess
that was among themselves, not against the other team.
Well, yeah, that's the thing. Like it's like the Colts. I think it's happened a few times. Like I don't know these training camps. I guess because it's that first real hitting you're doing, and you're just amped up. But it's always funny how these, like you said, infighting, like because they said the coach was just so embarrassed, and like I guess he was just like spewing every every word he could to try to get them on the same page. But yeah, I saw ESPN, of course, covering that because they care about their markets. So. But next week, SummerSlam predictions, NXT predictions, anniversary show, CM Punk debut, ? So
it better be.
Join us next week. Guest on board. We've never met Brittany, so it'll be fun to have her on. I think she's a fighter, so we could talk to her about that. And yeah,
yes,
and we'll just we're ready. So I might have to get some of that Rogue Energy. Yeah. How'd you like that?
Hey, I don't play that.
And I know I will never hit a segue like that again. So we're going to have to end this broadcast because I want to go out on top.
Nice.
So thanks for watching. Get you some Rogue Energy. I was watching that commercial and I saw that Oreo one. I might have to get on that Oreo one because I love me some Oreos. Double stuffed. Have you seen the most stuffed one, Greg? That's like this much of cream.
No.
Yeah, it's like a package of like 5 or something because it's literally like 2 full cookies worth of cream.
See that.
It's just type go to your store and look for the most stuff, and it's a pretty good size. It's almost like a ice cream sandwich. So I've not tried it yet, but I do love me some double stuffed. I got to go double stuffed because I love my cream filling. But so yeah. Talk to you guys soon. If Oreo wants to sponsor us, I will gladly hawk the hell out of that stuff.
Absolutely. Me too.
All right. Have a good
one. Come on, Oreo.